What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the DST Show Live. We are under 24 hours past the NFL trade deadline. I think beyond past right now. But right now, it is time. What's popping, everybody? How's everybody doing? This has been probably I have to say, the most unpredictable trade deadline we've seen this NFL season. Passed around October 29th. You could say around October 7th because no one expecting a first option preseason quarterback to get traded like Joe Flacco, even though his veteranship was needed after they couldn't get anything going with Jake Browning. Then the Greg Newsome trade. Then Michael Carter III for a 6th-round pick and a wide receiver. Then Jair Alexander, after stinking it up in Baltimore, being the weakest defensive secondary in the NFL, for only $1 million of cap space and a 7th-round pick for a washed-up quarterback to spill up on secondary depth. Jalen Phillips finally has escaped the Miami threshold of mediocrity to play for contender with the Philadelphia Eagles. Was it Dre'Monte Jones, outside linebacker to Tennessee, to finally get that midfield structure that they finally need in the linebacking position? Jacoby Myers escapes for 2 mid-round picks for the 2026 NFL draft for the Las Vegas Raiders to sell on that cap of $5 million. So Jacoby Myers can expand. Then Brian Robinson isn't always going to get bailed out if he's going to be the failing second option at the receiving corps. So it's very interesting how we're starting to get finally some additions that will actually get some headlines, as well as Rashid Shaheed. That was like the second best receiver on the New Orleans Saints, but they were still with a closing record. So they're just leveraging mid-round picks for a serviceable wide receiver to add some depth at the receiving corps. This has been an interesting NFL. And probably one of the biggest trades was Quinnen Williams. People thought he wouldn't be sold up. A 2027 first-round pick. That's going to be the highest pick for the 2027 draft. A 2nd-round pick and Mazi Smith. They get a nose for one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL out of Quinnen Williams. That's been the most consistent over the pass rush, especially around the Robert Saleh saga. It's very giving tanking vibes, knowing that the Jets only have one win, one blemish on their only one win out of like 9 NFL games. And they're still looking mid to begin in the middle of the year. And it's been everything and above. They're getting pass rushing, consistent sack threats around the pressure of the quarterback, because that's been the Dallas's Achilles heel this season. So I understand the deficit of trying to get that pressure, because the way Arizona did them was just so vile. All Jacoby Brissett had to do, wait 2.5 seconds into the pocket. He'll spread. It's always curl routes. He's spreading them down fade routes. He's pushing him on drag routes, and all he had to do was just get open. Marvin Harrison Jr., out of his 8 starts, this is probably one of his best performances. And I think he got a receiving touchdown out of all of this. And he already totals around 492 yards. Obviously, not a top 10 option. He's only with 3 touchdowns. He had a slow start early into the season that was really judging if he was really a bust after back-to-back losses where he's getting just subpar performances where he's not getting much of a high target percentage when he's like getting inconsistent target routes because you got Trey McBride and you have a decent rushing rotation, and most of the time they didn't have an above average height a Kyler Murray to always find you around the fade route. But you got Jacoby Brissett that's a reasonable size that can actually hit you on those good catches that can actually get you. Yo, Brand got so cut, but I really thought they really needed a secondary to expand on their defense. So that's very interesting why they even go for Quinn Williams, even though they really do need pass rushing depth. That should be a priority for the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm glad they kind of got that figured out. Whoa, whoa, whoa. But what has been so far the best trade, in your opinion, guys? What has been the best trade so far this season? What is poppin' Spongy? Do we have any gunshots for Spongy? Oh, hell no. So, what's poppin' Spongy? It's been an interesting trade. I'm going over most of the trades that's going on. I've just covered over Quentin Williams' trade. Jasir Taylor also for secondary depth, and they clear around 500K worth of cap. Trayvon Higgins, most of it is just tanking teams already knowing that the season's over. But I'm sure Jets fans are not knowing why Garrett Wilson's probably going to be the last one to go because they're probably not going to build around them because they're probably using this to get over a lottery pick, knowing the 2026 draft class is going to be way stronger in quarterbacks. Way stronger. Because we talked about this over on the YTC stream around Sunday. You enjoyed the Jair Alexander pick, even though you know he's washed. So I'm curious. What else we have here? Because other than Dre Monte, Jacoby Myers to add some receiving depth for Jaguars team, this has been probably the most unconventional NFL season where you could get like at least 5 key pieces on it on the IR and you can still be above 500 as an NFL team. You just got to make sure your team's structured enough. Practically most of the time, you just need a good coaching staff. That's how the Niners get through things. Unless we have 10 men on the IR and Deebo Samuel is healthy. And Christian McCaffrey is shockingly still top 5 running back performances of the season. While like what? He's like bottom 8 in top rushing yards in the NFL. Or no, top receiving yards as a running back. Alvin Kamara is also a wash, and he used to be a king of being the receiving back on the offensive team, scrubbing over if they couldn't get Michael Thomas healthy, and they could carry them over to a 7-win season. And now that doesn't even sound possible because now they're starting the rookie. So that's why they're just pushing their chips down the window to wait until probably 2027, 2028, if they'll be back over to contending in the NFC South. Because it looks like Tampa Bay is going to have that on lock. Knowing they have an MVP caliber performer out of Baker Mayfield. But oh my God, are the Cowboys still in fraud watch after what happened in getting the Quentin Williams trade? Because, mind you, they're still second in the division. They are still second in the division. But not where they need to be because the Commanders are 3 games below 500, knowing they played a game above. Because of what? Dallas had their bye beforehand? So that's the only thing that's holding them over, as well as Jaden Daniels getting injured. with a poor supporting cast. The Cowboys still have reputably still a good chance of contending if we're keeping it a buck here. We're still keeping it a buck here. The Dallas Cowboys could still be a sub 500 team to contend. Oh, and ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of our guests today.
Hey.
Hey, good. Want to boost your volume a tiny bit?
Let's see. Is this working now? Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you just fine. Maybe. Oh, let me get my volume up. But Spongy, I'm not gonna lie. Before we continue, who we got like top 5 fraud watchers to look forward to in the second half of the season?
The Colts.
After getting Sauce Gardner, they fix over the secondary depth. You think that wasn't the right play? Knowing the Jets
frauds, I'm saying fraud by the offense and
Spongy,
if he does,
you're getting in and out.
try my AirPod.
Okay.
But Daniel Jones wins and rub it in all Giants fans. The one who doesn't like.
If you want to readjust, it's fine. Yeah, so he's trying to say just over in spite of rubbing it on Giants fans' faces over his performances. But it was a slow performance, a really slow burn, how they were just always getting dissected against the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of their second losses of the NFL season. Right now, they only got like matching records with the Oklahoma City Thunder if they didn't lose.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm here. But right now, fraud to watch is obviously the Colts. I wouldn't say the Colts postseason wise. We have to see what they can do because I've seen great one season wonder postseason teams, and then they just can't stand the consistency. While like the Dallas Cowboys, they haven't had a winning streak all season.
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys are frauds. We already knew that though.
Yeah, we kind of already knew that knowing their defensive hiccups. The Quentin Williams trade was just a band-aid in the wound, even though he is at least a top 10. He's a top 10 pass rusher at the tackle position. He's at least practically top 5. But
the thing is, if you look at his stats this year, they're not the greatest. Sack and 3 QB hits, I think. So he's not.
Yeah, he had at least like 3 to 4 QB pressures. And they can't much record sacks. They haven't been able to get a high sack percentage since C.J. Mosley was the captain of the Jets defense. And that was when Robert Saleh had them as the top 5. Top 15, at least. That was his worst.
And that was last year. So, yeah.
And what are they? And look at the Cowboys road record. Everybody was praising their home record. Their road record was the worst in the NFL. They released bottom 30? after like allowing like 30 points a game on the road.
That those Seahawks might be.
You're saying the Seahawks also might be frauds. Why would you try to rush to that conclusion, even though they're competing?
Darnold is good.
I feel like, shoot, I don't want to say that he's bad. I feel like he's good enough for what the Seahawks need over a general pocket passer, because
he's off as a pocket passer. I'm sure. I guess it's all
no, he's more
need, but personally don't.
Yeah, but you're not always going to be guaranteed that athletic quarterback that can also get out of the pocket and create his own plays like a Josh Allen. Like Darnold can do almost the same thing at a lesser elite level, but he can push over a win. And this is straight after their bye on the road.
Oh, I just, heard some sources. Did you see that there's going to be a Miss Piggy movie?
There's going to be a Miss Piggy movie?
Yeah, Miss Piggy.
Oh,
God. Yeah. Specifically targeting.
It's coming out in the holidays. That sounds like a holiday thing whenever they do a Muppets Club.
Not sure. I have no.
It sounds like such a holiday thing because whenever you hear Muppets, it's like, oh, Christmas.
Oh, is bad because someone is almost dead. Yeah.
We do have like great things that happen probably. Now we got the kick. Now we have a record kick, field goal kick for like 68 yards.
That guy can.
And that was nearly
70. Too.
But they're not going to claim preseason over that field goal.
Yeah.
And that was by a Jaguars field goal kicker as well. So they'll put an asterisk on. I'm joking.
He was the one who hit the 68.
Yeah, he made the 68. He broke the record. He pushed the 70. I remember it was a preseason game, though. So I don't think they're going to claim that over an NFL record. Even though it should be.
The same person that does it.
Oh, but what's your thoughts on the Jacoby Myers trade as well? Because that does push over the receiving receiving depth. Because Brian Robinson has been kind of in the bed recently. If it's not going to be him, Parker Washington, I think, has been more priority.
Here's the thing. I personally, but is one I don't think Liam Cohen put him into this end. Their general manager, Brian, as in not someone. So he was looking to kind of move him, I guess.
You want to try to refresh it again? Because you're still getting in and out, Spongy. I don't know if you notice the feedback. All right. I'll give Spongy a moment and try to fix over because he's coming over a bit staticky, but hope we get him back so we can continue his take on the front office. Oh, he should be back. Hello.
Yo.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So what were we talking about?
Over Liam Cohen, and then you got cut off there.
James Silverman, the GM, he also, it's not one of his guys that he drafted, so that might be something too.
What, you think there can be more favoritism involved with the targets?
Yeah, because that's why they wanted to trade him to get one of his guys. But from before. Well, no, Silverman's young. He's like in his 30s, so I doubt he drafted Jacoby Myers. But I guess anybody that maybe they just needed a vet. But what was that trade like? What was the return package?
The return package was at least 2026 fourth and sixth round pick. So they got mid round reserve for an aging receiver. I would say, well, this is Jacoby Myers, like 27, 28, and not the tail end of his career, 96. Wow, he should be pushing 30. Yeah, he's in 28. Over a reasonable deal, at least $5 million. He could probably push for a minimum if this is going to be a deep playoff push, because they are 2 games above 500 finishing, starting off like what we could say a fair amount 10 mid season around the deadline. So this could be a reasonable reserve, and you get a target man. But Jacoby Myers is a deep ball player, and you barely got a lot of guys that can at least push for a good yardage, because the Jaguars have an issue moving the ball up whenever they're passing. You're either reliant on Trevor Lawrence's legs.
I kind of feel like this is kind of like a trying to get a Mike Evans in the room for Liam Cohen. Trying to get like a vet option. Maybe even like a Chris Godwin.
But
probably more like a Chris Godwin.
If that was the case, they would have pushed for a wide receiver from the Patriots. Not from Jacoby Myers standards. He's not putting up that production that he was when he was in New England.
Yeah, did you see that the Patriots tried offering us Kayshon Boutte and a 4th round pick for AJ Brown?
That's still a bit low over the block for AJ Brown, no, because he's having a sluggish year. You're trying to push a slump for a receiver that would still go for a third minimum second. You would have took that trade?
Absolutely not. I'm honestly right now only taking a first. At least a first for AJ.
Yeah, but you're trying to push over for prime veteranship, and you're still trying to get a leverage over a pick. That's at least going to be at least early second round territory, if we're even talking. Because it's not like how DeAndre Hopkins did it over with Tennessee. Or we can even go worse. This would have been a Julio Jones level offense when he was over in Tennessee. Oh, and Asante Samuel was.
I kind of want to pick him up.
He was busy over in the Panthers organization. He was visiting the Panthers, the Packers, Vikings, Niners, Bears, and Steelers.
I see him signing like a 1-year deal with the Bears.
Knowing his time frame, Asante might push for a team that's already in a comfortable spot that needs a hole to be fixed. So Pittsburgh.
The Bears have no corners.
Yeah, Bears have no corners. Niners barely have any corners, but I bet they can still handle another veteran piece in their secondary.
Did any of those teams that he visited, did his dad play on any of those teams?
Asante? Oh, shit. Only 2.
Because now he... so 2 of the... How many teams?
I don't know if they're going to Jalen Brunson him.
Speak of New York.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to bring that up, but... I think you know what I'm referring to.
What color?
Last night.
Huh?
Last night.
Go ahead.
The winner of
Just say it.
the E word, the winner of the election.
Oh, are trying to push a political. Okay. Yeah, it's a big win. A guy that really knows is aware of the economic climate that's going on in the USA, really trying to cut over a lot of like the corrupted funding going on. I wish he does a good job. I wish him luck.
He got sued by the Knicks, so I don't know how that's gonna work.
Ooh, no, he's gonna be a Nets fan by default. Oh no. Oh no. And the Nets are 0-7. 0-7.
Are they 0-8 yet?
They're going to be. They're going to play the Cavaliers. No. Sixers have the.
0-8.
They should.
We have the Cavs tonight.
Oh, you have the Cavs tonight?
I think. Or we had the Cavs last night. I don't know. We had the Bulls last night, and they beat us.
Chicago, Gay, turn yourselves around. Mediocrity's finally over. Chicago actually wants to play for something. This without Kobe White.
About time.
Finally. Because out of all the things, I'm sure NBA fans like seeing whenever like a historic basketball club like the Bulls do well. Mavericks, though, are another story. 1-6. 2-6. They're 2-6. You can't beat the Pelicans, and the Pelicans did all this to get first-round picks that can't play anything. Zion Williamson still hurt.
Jordan Poole, who likes to wank off in the locker room.
He's what? He's gooning in the locker room?
Yeah.
Who?
Jordan Poole.
He's gooning in the locker room.
With the Warriors, someone caught him doing that in the locker room.
Who brought that up? Jordan?
He was.
Did Draymond bring that up?
I forget who it was.
That is so unnecessary. that is on some. Who's that?
Yeah.
I forgot who's that Raiders defensive lineman that got caught doing some such shit in the huddle.
Oh God. Christian Wilkins.
Oh yeah, Christian Watkins. Oh, Christian Wilkins. He was supposed to get that big money after that big money contract after a good season with the Raiders.
Yeah. What happened?
Good game, bro. Then he thought it was a bit too thick and went full Diddy.
Yeah. Without the baby oil.
You gotta learn how to perform good and still act sus. You gotta be like Josh Giddey with it. Not Josh Giddey acting like the second coming of Chris Paul.
You gotta act like Michael Sam.
No. Well, Christian Wilkins actually can play. Wait, and they didn't put him in the Hall of Fame as well. Didn't they put an openly gay NFL player in the Hall of Fame? And Michael Sam wasn't there?
Was Carl Nassib there?
No. Yes.
I don't know.
Carl Nassib. There's still an arrangement for some free agents, right? Because Odell Beckham's not available until December.
No, he's serving his suspension when he gets signed.
Oh. So no one's touching that.
Because he might as well retire. If I'm being honest, unless he wants to sign with the Giants next year and just play week 7 after. I'm mentioning in free agency. I don't know how that would work.
That's a damn shame.
It's not like anyone's going to sign him anyway.
Who's even still willing to go? Here's the thing with me, man. People were already contemplating Odell Beckham already officially retired 2 years ago after the Miami signing didn't go well. And that was the equivalent to the LA Rams effect, where they thought they were getting washed all pros to still produce. And the only person that was still good enough to still get signed was Jalen Ramsey, because Jalen Ramsey was still playing NFL games.
And he's still somewhat young, even though he's actually not. Shocking. Huh? I thought Ramsey was younger, but he really isn't. He's like 32, 33.
No, he just behaves like a kid.
That's it.
No offense. And this is me being honest. When you're a professional athlete for this long, you're practically still a man-child.
Yeah. Yes.
Unless you're Kirk Cousins, where like you're a dad, but you get paid NFL money.
Yeah.
Oh, these girls watch it, and so I say Vikings. Okay, any person that complains about their IR, just know Harrison. I think Harrison Smith is Harrison Smith still injured?
I don't know.
He's on rest still. Jalen Redmond out. Josh Oliver out. CJ Ham out. Theo Jackson out. Aaron Jones Sr. Did he go to Turkey yet? I don't know. Out. Okuda out. Most of these are either DNP'd, foot injuries, concussion. We shockingly only one concussion in this list. One. Two. There's two concussions. Sorry, what?
Antonio Brown? Is he on there? Concussion?
Yeah. There's only two, and I think Theo Jackson's one.
Antonio Brown is the other. So is Tua.
Hawk Tua.
Yeah, Hawk Tua.
And that's still ongoing, but he'll still start.
Especially.
Oh, Raiders got the Broncos for the.
Yeah, that's tonight or tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night.
So Jonathan Cooper, Jonathan Myers. That's a big loss on the defensive line. And the Broncos have been one of the best defenses in the NFL. There's still illness over Will Lutz. They're missing that field goal threat because I swear they keep missing extra points. Riley Moss, Marvin Mims out with a concussion. Patrick Surtain out with a pectoral. That's
you said Surtain's out?
Yeah.
Oh, God. It's not good.
They're not looking good at all. Fans lining up Nico Harrison autographs just to burn him afterwards. I bet I'm going to see an after picture of that. Because we know there's still bitterness because now your team's starting 2-6. You don't know how to play Cooper Flagg. He plays like an all-around defensive wing, and then you want to play him at the point with D'Angelo Russell? Without Kyrie Irving, of course. And then you got Anthony Davis that's fat now. Injury prone. And then you guys were supposed to be this mid-tier playoff contender. That's supposed to be a win now cycle with no primary option. And especially if Cooper Flagg is showing, and don't get me wrong, he shows a lot of glimpses that he can be a good all-around player, but probably just not the star player people are imagining. Because he just reminds me of a taller Caruso. And that's not a bad character comparison. That's not a bad player comparison if we're talking about Alex Caruso. 2-time NBA champion. But obviously you'll put an asterisk on the bubble, won't you? Yeah, pretty much. Maybe because like the way he's trying to push the chase down, he's always athletic on the dribble. He's good on fast break points. But he isn't really that much of a creator at the point guard position. He's still very talented, but I'm sure he's just not going to fit the role that the Mavericks need. He's just a kid who now has to like hide his flaws. I think on Fraud Watch currently on the NBA, there's the Orlando Magic that are starting off the season terribly.
The number one team on the fraud list is the Philadelphia 76ers. They are not going to be this good. They're fooling us.
Really? Why are you pushing down even though this is your best run you've had since, like, what, the 2023 season? VJ Edgecombe is shown to be a top 3 rookie of the year candidate right now.
He was the third pick.
That's not always the case. Because people were thinking Scoot Henderson, he wasn't even top 10.
Jesus Christ.
And Scoot was like a number 2 overall.
Yeah.
And that's the last time they ever pushed for the Ignite program.
The Ignite program is gone.
And most of those guys are AAU talents. No offense. No offense to AAU, is just that style of basketball is just not valid. Like, you're going to see Jalen Green get D'Angelo Russelled so hard.
Yeah.
And now we're going over, like, Ja Morant as well is probably going to be in that same box.
How are the Suns doing?
Huh?
How are the Suns doing?
Suns they're pretty decent. I remember they last beat the Spurs.
The Spurs?
Yeah, they beat the Spurs.
Wow. Never would have thought that.
Right now, the Phoenix Suns, I think they only have like 3 wins, right? 3 to 4 wins right now when they're in the NBA right now. Devin Booker is still pushing over the stats. Jalen Green hasn't suited up yet because he's still injured. Because I think he had a preseason injury. Suns at 12th place. They only have 3 wins. They've only won 2 straight because they beat the Spurs and they beat the Utah Jazz, but the Celtics can't. The Celtics can't beat anybody.
The Sixers either.
Look, Jalen Green, maybe if he accepts that he's balding and he gets the full Michael Jordan cut, he'll be the best player in the league. People thought Celtics fan. I remember I was watching a different YouTube channel. They were expecting Jalen Green to get the rate. He's a 2-way player. You're trying to get him like an all-around primary scorer. That was never his responsibility.
Yeah.
I think that's why people are having it conscrewed with Jaylen Brown. He was never a secondary option scorer. We're going to see more points come out of Anthony Simons before we see it off Jaylen Brown. Because whenever they make him a primary ball handler, first of all, those jokes about him not using the left is warranted. Those are true. The guy can't use his left. He's going to try to spread the floor so he can get better shots out for his teammates. He's always been known for doing that. And he's inefficient from 3. Unless everybody's getting hot. Like, you're going to see Peyton Pritchard get hot more than Jaylen Brown. And I'm not trying to be a hater. I think more people were expecting this over the hard cap. You know who else that's going to pimp slap? You're not going to see the Cavaliers be better than this year. This is probably going to be the last contending opportunity for the Cavaliers if they can't get it together. That hard cap is going to punish a lot of teams that were trying to be overly ambitious with the triple max. The only team that's probably going to master this and still be contending for the next year is probably the Oklahoma City Thunder, because most of their cap hits don't go until 2027. Probably the Sixers as well, because Embiid's on a max, but it's like a what? It's still a pay cut for his standards, right? Spongy? I don't know if he's still rearranging his microphone. Just try to let me know in the private chat whenever something's going on. Top receiving touchdowns of this year goes to Devontae Adams over Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Dallas Goedert, yes, a tight end, having his career year. Leading and receiving touchdowns in the NFL is pushing over from a tight end because I think only Justin Jefferson has like 4 in the season. 3. I don't think he's the top receiving touchdowns right now on the Vikings. And probably ahead of him is probably Njigba. Sauce Gardner is a full participant for the first practice for the Colts. That just got updated now. And Quincy Williams says the Jets have benched him. Chris Godwin and Bucky Irvin may remain out for the Bucks practice. And Titan claims safety Jarek Reed off waivers. Yeah, they're just trying to push over any type of capital they still have in the secondary market. And Titans are just trying to grab. They're just grabbing scrap. No offense, they're grabbing scrap. Titans are grabbing scrap. Their ass. Cam Ward's words, not mine. Cam Ward's words. He said that his team was ass in the media. That's not my fault. Let me go full Stephen A. and put another athlete's wording on blast. What else we have? We have Mike McDonald and Rashid Rahid on trades. Most of these are older news. D'Amico Ryan. CJ Stroud ruled out for week 10 against the Jaguars, division rival games. Quincy Williams, Jets knew I was frustrated by losing. I think anybody is, man. I think anybody is at this point. I'm shocked. Rico.
I'll be right back.
No problem.
I'll just be muted.
Because at this point, Woody Johnson is just trying to scrap over for the future. And I swear, Quincy Williams was celebrating with joy. As soon as he had to come back to the house and hear that he's playing for a playoff contending team, well, not really a playoff contending team, but at least a team that has aspirations that they want to compete. That's literally how it is. When Jerry Jones finally gets to that defensive tackle that can push around the edge rush, they still don't have any linebackers. And they're edging over their future with they still feeling like Bland is a top cornerback option after what happened against Marvin Harrison Jr. This is almost worse than the secondary performance on the Bengals debut for Joe Flacco. And we kind of all know how that went. David Njoku, I'm not fucking leaving Cleveland ever. What was his new contract looking like? I thought that was Quinshon Judkins because they both have blonde dreads. Trade deadline came and went of the week with veteran tight end David Njoku remaining on the Browns. Njoku told reporters Wednesday that exactly what he wanted was the most colorful ways possible. Of course, I was terrified of being traded, Njoku said. Wow, he is terrified of leaving a terrible situation. First of all, people thought that the trade sweepstakes were going to be the Cleveland Browns in it because they actually have pieces. Njoku, are you sure you don't want to be a primary tight end? Like, hell, I would even put you in Jacksonville. If Marcellus Bennett could still have a job, how can you still not get a job knowing your age gap is going to get a lot harder to get legitimate playtime minutes as a primary target option? You could have been up in Jacksonville in a minute after pushing about Tank Bigsby. And all they have is like Brenton Strange on the tight end position and Hunter Long. Both that combined for more starts than Trevor Lawrence. That have to play rotationary tight end moments. And you could actually get yards. And a red zone threat. You loyalists, man, y'all with that Devin Booker mentality be getting me tight. You afraid to leave Cleveland? Devin and Joku leave thinking like Anthony Edwards after hearing about the Luka trade. Like, man, you're going for greener pastures. Because other than I think everybody thinks that the Luka Doncic trade, and this objectively goes for almost anybody outside of the media realm of the ESPN, because they know they're always going to feel like, oh, why would Nico Harrison make such a decision? Oh yeah, because they want to enforce sports gambling casinos and relocate the Mavericks to Las Vegas if they don't. That's more of a political sense to hold over that much financial power, since Mark Cuban is not the majority owner anymore of the Dallas Mavericks. So they'll push over these casino tycoons that push over to Vegas to try to pollute the sports market. And even Mark Cuban wasn't even a fan of it. So you need to think about this in a wider lens, and I understand that it pushes over the realm even for me. I don't like being a conspiracy theorist, but we're now monetizing something that was upheld for corruption and policified and probably got a bunch of people killed over what made certain baseball World Series titles asterisked around the sports league, the magnitude of fucking lockups. Even in soccer leagues has happened, even in Italian soccer, over sports washing in team gambling. Legitimately, David Njoku, you should not be afraid of leaving the Browns. Nobody's ever upset. You feel like the most anybody gets upset is individual aspects, not because they felt like they were creating a successful culture in Cleveland. Like, you can go push over back to the Odell Beckham departure when he went to LA, all because he wasn't feeling like a primary target, that he had to get his fucking dad involved, into pushing over film of Baker Mayfield just not finding him open what he would consider to be open routes. What's better, playing with Dylan Gabriel or Trevor Lawrence with a above 500 record? Now that the Texans are not playing as good as they should, I need to know, David. Like, I really need to know Njoku's mentality here, because he's pushing over a loyalist, and you saw what they did to Nick Chubb. Brother got off waivers. All-pro running back that led the NFL league in rushing at least 3 times in his NFL career. Nick Chubb was an absolute stud before his ACL injury got him off, and especially pushing the market value for aging running backs. That's unfair. And that you're saying that you were terrified of leaving? Huh. Interesting. And this by Pro Football Talk. The same year Myles Garrett was selected number 1 overall last year, his contract, David Njoku has 27 receptions for 260 yards off 2 touchdowns, while noted with a wink that he couldn't say that his representation has been in touch with the Browns about a potential contract extension, and he wanted to make his feelings clear where he'd like to be. I'm not leaving, Njoku says. So that's practically saying that his production was going to give an immediate departure over a deadline trade, knowing his decline, being behind Myles Garrett. And I don't know if he was expecting, bro, they just get your contract to expire so they don't have to deal with recouping your cap. They'd rather that way than pay off the cap space while you're playing for a division rival, possibly. That's practically it. I'm sure they'll still get rid of you, David Njoku. And that's nothing personal, because I do like him. But I feel like the priority set on just finding key pieces. What, you excited to play with Shador Sanders? The legendary Shador Sanders. Oh my God! If only he had a couple more inches. That's the equivalent of Glaze if Shador scores 2 touchdowns in his NFL debut. And I don't know if there's still contempt on even keeping him to start for Dylan Gabriel, knowing his underwhelming performances. And this is the same team that traded away the quarterback that upset their division rivals twice, and now is second best in the AFC. No, they're third best in the AFC North. Keyshawn Boutte will not practice Wednesday with his hamstring injury. And Harrison Mathis is now on the practice squad. Those are some old school ass pads he has on, Harrison Mathis. James Cook is not going to be practiced due to his foot injury for the Bills, while Commanders meeting Wednesday to discuss the plans with Jaden Daniels. What is going to be the game plan for most of these teams? Because I don't want to say I wouldn't say much of I'm concerned, but I would say that I'm interested in what's going to happen. And let's push over for the power rankings for this NFL season. Oh, you get a minute. So currently, the Los Angeles Rams that are 6-2. With Matthew Stafford, yes, he's in the MVP race. Yes, he actually is in the MVP race. Denver Broncos that are 7-2, pushing over number 2 in their momentum. And they're still winning even though they're picking over big defensive hiccups on the offensive. Colts are still matched third after their loss. But what's going to be the reality turning shift? Even though it was snap and balance, poor misreads over Daniel Jones, and it just felt like a massive energy loss after probably the biggest out of nowhere in the NFL this season. Out of the Colts being number 1 in their division, only barely they have more wins than the Kansas City Chiefs. Philadelphia Eagles at 5th, Lions in 9th. Green Bay Packers still pushing over their second loss in the NFL season, saying the sluggish offense won't be easy without Tucker Kraft, their starting tight end. Buccaneers. A big question is how healthy they can be. That is a big question. Seattle Seahawks away from home, and yes, they probably have almost as worse win-loss record from the road than the Dallas Cowboys. And the Cowboys did lose their first their home game, in terrible fashion after 2 deflection picks, George Pickens just being undercut from the offense, and just getting out in the secondary for the Cowboys, just being in such fraudulence, fam. Yes, I'll admit it. Drake May for MVP in the 9th spot. Then the Bills best bet winning the playoffs to rematch against the Chiefs. I think that's the primary thing because we know that the Bills are probably the best. But pushing the top 10, and this probably cumulative to their bye as well. So that notches them over because they haven't played that recently. So even though the Chiefs' victory should at least still mark them over as a middle, at least above the Seattle Seahawks. Because of who they had to play, was it really that impressive knowing their IR? I'm just saying. That's not even me being a hater. Pittsburgh is currently at 11th. The Sunday performance proved that they should burn an ugly-ass throwback uniform. Yes, thank you. Chargers losing Joel is season's going to be a problem. Yeah, their offensive line threshold is really struggling right now for the LA Chargers because sometimes they look good, sometimes they'll just look sloppy because they can be offensively competent, but man, that consistency needs to work, especially trying to structure an offensive line because Joe Alt was like a key component. Kansas City Chiefs are shockingly fourth place with a 5-4 record, a game below 500, above 500, knowing they could still push over a good second half of the season. Who do the Chiefs have? So, and sorry if I sound fatigued, folks. I'm coming from the gym, like from 6 a.m. So mind you, if I sound like a man happy about his marriage in the NFL. And they're going to play Dallas, Houston, LA. Yeah, they'll be about 5. They'll be second in the division come Christmas. They'll be second in the division come Christmas. And mark my words. Mark my words. '49ers in 15th. Mac Jones slowly is surely making a case to be a long-term starter. We're pushing that over an injury-riddled Giant squad that has a poor secondary that we still close the gap with. We allowed like a late 24-point game. You're lucky the Giants are worse than us, because that's where it's our strength of schedule that's keeping us away from a wild card spot right now. Our strength of schedule has to be a big reason why we're still in wild card contention, and that's only with 6 wins in the NFL season out of 9 games. Panthers currently in 17th. Panthers. I would give you an applaud, but I don't have an applaud button. You'll get that though. Panthers, I feel like the NFL is sleeping on the Panthers. They've had late stretches. Bryce Young has been actually a reasonable dual threat quarterback that can be disciplined around the pocket. He manipulates around. Rico Dowdle, a fumble from the Dallas Cowboys. An absolute fumble and 2 spaces ahead in the rankings. Picked up their 3 straight victories. People forgot. Late comeback stretch against the Dolphins. Late comeback stretch against the Dallas Cowboys. And a late comeback stretch where they were holding by 9 and then got an unanswered double-digit lead against the New York Jets that pushes them back over in the spot around the division. Like we're looking at them right now. They've won 4 out of their last 5. Only second best, and only a game above their winning record right now. Out of 9 games without the Buccaneers playing. The Panthers has been slept over on their defensive side of the ball. We have a reasonable receiving core. And usually you don't know what to think about this Panthers squad, but they've been very disciplined when trying to hold over on the lead. Their zone coverage has been actually exceptional. And they're pushing only 16th for points against. Most of the time, you're fighting for yardage around the Panthers teams. And out of like the New England game, you're barely getting under 30 points of total offense. The only reasonable loss they've had above 35 points have been against the Buffalo Bills. And that was a shoo-in for a loss. And the New England Patriots. But other than that, they've been convincingly competitive. Very competitive. Shut out Atlanta. That are fraudulent as well. Again. Shut out Dallas. Shut out Miami. And got an upset comeback drive off a field goal win against the Green Bay Packers, and they're probably going to beat New Orleans. They'll be straight up around above 500 after the road trip before Thanksgiving. The Panthers, man, they could scratch over a final wildcard spot before the new year. Carolina actually got something cooking with Bryce Young. And that's what happens when you take the time to actually develop over a squad. And this is with getting rid of Brian Burns as well in the offseason. Oh my goodness. Is this what happens when you let things cook in the NFL? I think that there's some karma to be made. All the things that we're seeing over with McMillan, Xavier getting a late stage comeback, Jimmy Horn, Hunter Renfro being a veteran sleeper piece for route running, and with Tre'Vavion Sanders or Trayvon Sanders, we're seeing a lot of good impact, a lot of good youth used to their momentum, and some unsung heroes being actually utilized for their talents, especially with Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, and Trevor Etienne. They have as a third string, all under 30. I mean, even though like 27 is like elderly age and running back years, but that's just me being discriminate. What else? Vikings push 18th. With JJ McCarthy, he did put up a good performance. Ravens closing out and they're actually looking legitimate. Texans defensively looking great, but it's still not keeping up for what they need to do on the offensive side of the ball. People can push that over injuries, but inconsistencies of performance by CJ Stroud. We've been seeing that all season. Falcons are frauds. And the only thing they're saying here, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you guys. They didn't blow a 28-3 lead. Jacoby Brissett gives a better chance to keep winning. Yeah, shout out to CJ Stroud. He carries me in zombies, though. I mean, not CJ. Kyler Murray, he carries me in zombies. CJ, if you're watching this, can you get me Marvin Harrison Jr.'s autograph? You're awesome, bro. You're awesome. Dallas Cowboys are fucking 23rd off of 3-5-1 record because their draw from the Green Bay Packers. At least Jerry Jones has his $100 billion natural gas thing. That's crazy. Your other endeavors are profiting. Bengals. The only thing they could save is Duke Tubin. Tubin is a significant buyout. If they keep losing, Jackson Dart play enough to stave off a. Yo, come on, man. If they lose to the Jets this weekend, the season's over. It probably is either way. Win or lose, man. Win or lose if they lose to the Jets. Because Browns can actually beat legitimate teams. But they just structurally don't have a key number one option at the quarterback. They thought it was Deshaun Watson. $250 million mistake is still documented to the day how much of a fall off he's had. And then we have Dylan Gabriel. That was a serviceable replacement, but not consistent enough around NFL teams yet. He still needed a veteran quarterback to lunge around, but then you let Joe Flacco run off for freedom where he can actually win games in a legitimate offense with a primary number one all-pro receiver. And they're still bitter Shedeur Sanders sympathizers. Nobody can win. Nobody can win when you're in the NFL. There's never a winner. And I'm not saying you have to win, but there's always a simple line you have to put yourself in what type of tribalist if you're all fan or all player, supporter. I'm just saying. Everybody's a fence sitter when they're in the NFL. And it's not even close. I'm just keeping it a thou wow with you. Dolphins tank mode is indicated. No shit, they got rid of their starting tight end. Darren Waller is your best receiving option on the offense. Yes, Darren Waller. They Devon Achan's having a career year just to go below 500 with only 2 wins over in the season with an iffy quarterback decision. Like, damn. I'm not even trying to be a hater at this point. This is sad for Miami because years ago you have a good offensive combo with a reasonable pass rush with a young, innovative head coach. That doesn't seem to be the case this year. You lose. Daniel's on the hot seat again. I don't even know which game where he's even officially on the hot seat. Jets are shockingly only 27th, only though they have 1 win in their record. The next 2 games are in prime time. Oh God, the Raiders have fucking prime time. Ew. Just remember, folks, we got taxpayer money so you can see the Raiders shit the bed with Trey Tucker and Brock Bowers trying to carry their offense. With Geno Smith feeling like they have a good supporting cast to carry his flaws. Yeah, it's that bad. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. And they only got the Jets ranked at like 3rd. Raiders. The Jets are so bad, even when they are off, it feels like they lost. That's crazy. Tyler Stouch's debut went about as well as anyone would expect it to get. You could have got Shador! You could have got Shador! Truly bad terms, and the Titans, of course, really bad terms. Teams still find a way to lose, even when all breaks go away. Yeah, that was a winnable game for Tennessee, but they always have these late stage comeback, late stage leads, and then they just blow it. And then it's always on somebody. The victimhood in Tennessee has to be studied. They have lost 3 straight. They only won against Arizona. They've only lost against Arizona because of a halfback's big mistake. And that was when Amari DiMarcado was actually not using his NFL brain for once and not releasing the ball near the end zone to cost over a possession. Oh, but he didn't do that and actually ran out and slide over near out of bounds to run the clock and kill the game so the Cowboys didn't come back. And for that, DeMarcado, comeback player of the year just off a performance. 1 performance alone out of 3 weeks. I'm using my hands, by the way. I'm not using my other parts. But, oh my goodness. Titans, I don't know even what to say, bro. You guys are just cheeks. You guys are just practically cheeks. It's like what, 13? You had an unanswered 13 with a 3-point lead at the half, and then only compensated with a total of 6 after 2 straight touchdowns with Devontae Adams torching your secondary. With Stafford nearly pushing for 300 receiving yards. Passing yards. And then people still want to empathize with Cam Ward when he shows that he's a raw talent. Legitimately, he's a raw talent. I'm not even trying to make a compliment. He's legitimately a raw athlete. He's just a Anthony Richardson if he was in the ACC. With less media hype, oh my God. And Anthony Richardson, I'm shocked he's not even pushed over for any other team to try to pull a quarterback guru. But I think that's like the bottom because they're still bad. They're still completely terrible. I I want to empathize no ill will between some of these players because some of them are in a poor situation. The top prospects always going to be built over with the worst team that would try to make something out of make something out of nothing, and try to carry over because that's always the expectation. We're trying to build over a foundation, and sometimes that comes to either making a tender, being just in field, or floundering off to a bigger market with a more legitimate team, i.e., Jared Goff. I'm just keeping it a stack. I mean, Matthew Stafford, if you want to say that. Matthew Stafford. But he was all pro caliber just in a poor situation. Legitimately, he's been playing for like a long time since 2009. People forgot how old like Matthew Stafford actually is. He's been literally one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC North, like behind Aaron Rodgers in back in the day when he was playing for the Packers. Like you see the terrible receivers YTC deal with the Giants. That's the type of receivers that Matthew Stafford was letting look good for years. I'm just keeping it a stack. Oh, Spongy, if you're good to come in, just type it over in the private chat. Trying to see if we got any more news. Let's see NBA talks real quick. No holidays coming in. My job already has everything set up since the October. Update rookie ladders. I know Spongy's gonna like this. VJ Edgecombe, number 1. Cedric Coward from Memphis Grizzlies at number 2. Cooper Flagg, number 3 still? Over Knipple? Connor Knipple. Dylan Harper, because he's like the 4th option on this, like the 6th option on the Spurs. As at number 5. Jeremiah Fears from the New Orleans Pelicans at number 6. Trey Johnson at number 7. Colin Murray Boyles at number 8. Ryan Kolkbrenner at number 9. And Derek Queen at number 10. And VJ Edgecombe has been killing it. He's like a regen of Anthony Edwards the way he plays, bro. That's like the best compliment you can get as a young player, but also the biggest pressure to be pushed over as a young player, if you know what I'm saying. You get that expectation to at least play beyond or have an advanced skill level at the perimeter. All I can say right now is damn, Tyrese Maxey is probably a top 3 guards in the NBA right now the way he's playing. Like right next to Cade Cunningham. And if you want to still push over Steph Curry, that's fine. And we got Lakers versus Spurs, 10 p.m. Eastern. Luka Doncic finally gets to play against Wembanyama 1-on-1. Kenny Smith is signing a deal with ESPN that will have him call games and appear in First Take episode. Oh, God, no. Why is that always a legitimate deal for media rights? You don't see Pat McAfee that has his own realm and his own media preview. Why not just give him a short segment where he actually updates and actually gives actual informal speaks? Because unlike Stephen A, Kenny the Jet Smith actually talks basketball, fam. Like, do I really have to waste my energy hearing this? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to say it out loud. You know what I mean, man. Like, the negative sports media is really pissing me off. And we got the Grizzlies are not interested in rebuilding, and I believe that the star duo of John Moran and Jaren Jackson Jr. forms the foundation of a contender per Chris Mannix. Going full rebuild may be out of the question. The Grizzlies don't want to do that, and they believe John Moran and Jaren Jackson Jr. tandem is the foundation of a contender. They believe the return to health of Memphis already has what decimated by injuries and will lead to wins. This isn't a team looking to sell John Morant, but it's looking to use an asset, including the bag of first round pick. You're going to get Bradley Beal, acquired by Orlando. So they're just trying to build around the draft and do a consummate rebuild. And that can either make or break a team, unless they know how to scout. That is such that is such a double-edged sword of front office of front office competence, man. You have first of all, there's already claims of John Morant not even following over with the plans, with the Memphis Grizzlies with the front office decisions, and then and now you have him disbelieving that he can even stay. It's dumb. Already not even predominantly valuing trying to get front office assets when you could get like Keegan Murray or a prominent backup actual stretch wing that's starting caliber that can play off Jaren Jackson Jr. Guys have no floor spacers, and you're just trying to do a developmental contending process when like other teams are trying to contend. You don't see Utah really losing feelings trying to trade away Larry Markkinen for some future asset because they know they're not going to win with just Larry Markkinen in a smaller market. And I understand John Morant's more popular than Larry Markkinen, and we know his shoes sell. He's a prominent highlight reel for the Grizzlies and the NBA. It'd be a shame to let that go. Guys, what's the game plan? I'm gonna say that out of pure concern, because Grizzlies just a while ago used to be as a bigger contender as the Phoenix Suns were like back in the 2023-24 season. And they lose Dylan Brooks. They lose that defensive edge that they were holding on to hold over for perimeter defenders, try to aggravate the top scorers on the opposing sides, and be a explosive force at a polar opposite of what they were back in the grit and grind era. And now that's completely out of hand for the Memphis Grizzlies. And that's sad to say. Who's looking at the Memphis Grizzlies is not looking hot. Currently, the Memphis Grizzlies are 11th, barely in the playing conversation, only 2 games below 500. So that even if it does, it probably may take 4 to 5 games to even still compete. And sure, would that be an over-exaggeration, knowing the coaching staff? If you guys seen John Morant's post-game interview after their loss against the Los Angeles Lakers, where he was just pushing over the coaching staff, appointing like, maybe you shouldn't just play, maybe just don't play me. Like, that's not gonna look good when you're overly ambitious and you're just copying over the trust the process approach, when after all that was done, all it did was just individually like help Joel Embiid. All that did was just help Joel Embiid. If you want to make an all-around all NBA talent for like the bare minimum, well, not really the bare minimum, but like to make it all-around all NBA talent, it works, but it's just not good. Who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell him? Grizzlies contenders in the same sentence. Chill. It's not that bad. Grizzlies will contend. Give it a decade and a half. How old will John Morant be? I don't know. So, give or take, when I have kids and he's on his 5th baby mama. I mean, his 11th gun charge. I mean, gambling ring. I think I have it right here. Because he got suspended one game for misconduct around the team for disciplinary action after it looks like he was pushing his coaching staff and team under the bus. Because they did fire their previous head coach. And it's been like their play style just does not fit their personnel. If you I've seen a couple Grizzlies games, they're floor spacing and they're trying to defense zone defense press and off ball move Ja Morant. If that was prime Derrick Rose, he'd be fucked. He's not an off the ball carrier on the ball to create plays. He can get over the pick and roll, but Ja Morant's great with the ball. It's not going to look nice, especially if you don't have all around talents that can really hide blemishes on Ja Morant's poor shooting percentage while you're also having Jaren Jackson Jr. shoot 8 3-pointers a game. You see why that would be a concern? I mean, other than I like Jalen Wells, Cedric Coward has been a great up and comer. The 6'6 rookie, Zach Edey's out. Brandon Clark's out. Ty Jerome, that was supposed to be that sleeper 6-man signing that they picked up from the Cavaliers, is out. So what's really going to be the pecking order? What's really going to be the saving grace in this NBA season? For the Grizzlies, if it's not even going to be barely a play-in spot, where if they win, the front office is going to celebrate like Pat Beverly making it for the play-in. And let me tell you, that is the funniest thing you'll ever see. I'm just keeping it a thou with you. It shouldn't surprise anybody if Ja Morant leaves at this stage of his career, where he could still be a complementary piece plus a massive media angle for the younger demographic, while being an explosive player that can be a predominant scoring option for a team. That should be very exciting for teams. If Ja Morant is possibly still over in the trade block before February. I don't know if it could carry over still headlines like Luka Doncic, because John Morant used to be in the conversation of a top 3 guard conversation. He's now bottom 5th, at least bottom 10th. And you think that's probably a wild take, but I'm being serious. John Morant isn't as good as people think he is. He's great, but he's not the best at the position. Probably still got Steph Curry in there. Josh Giddey has stepped up his performances. You got Tyrese Maxey, Cade Cunningham. Stephen Curry is still Stephen Curry. It's still got to be Stephen Curry in there. Luka Doncic is practically a point forward at this point. Jalen Brunson. Like, it's very difficult to push over a scapegoat of John Morant, even though he's practically not putting up bad stats in the NBA season. Still putting up a minimum of 20 points a game. With his assist going 7.1, just average over his career averages in his career. But his 3-point percentage is fucking 13.9%. You're a slashing 2 guard with the bare minimum of a 3-point shot. As soon as Desmond Bane leaves, he's also playing like shit. All for 5 first-round picks for your primary scoring option to not even put up a minimum 25% from the field. Hell, people won't be complaining if he was at least scoring at a 32% 3-point percentage. At this point of John Morant's career, how you cannot flesh out your 3-point perimeter shooting while being a liability over on the defensive side of the ball. It really pushes over the values why a bunch of NBA teams are not looking you up for signings. But I'm sure at least there's a handful, unlike the Cam Thomas situation. Because if you've seen Cam Thomas and if you've seen your LA Fitness, it's the same play style. It's the same play style. And it's okay. She does look fat in that dress. Uh da 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 da. Tatali 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 ta tatali Taylor Decker and Fancy Sewell is out of practice. The Knicks reached out to the White House after it used their logo to mock NYC's mayor to elect that was elected. Spongy just talked about this, and then they deleted this post earlier. You know what it was? You know what it was? Hold on. Hey guys, fuck you. Uh, to be fair, never thought I'd say this, but W Knicks. Damn, not on my watch. Yeah, nice work, PR. Nice work. Brian Thomas is not in practice on Wednesday. I'm sure a bunch of Sixers fans are very excited knowing that VJ Edgecombe is getting the validation he deserves for his performances he's been getting with the Sixers in the high record. Because currently the win loss for the Sixers is very, very impressive. Chicago Bulls has also improved their record. What's another turn up? The Portland Trailblazers are an above 500 record, and the Jazz are not bottom four in the NBA. While the Pelicans, after getting Jordan Poole, after getting rid of CJ McCollum, are only with one win in the NBA season. And what happened to that win now? Defenses win championships, Harrison. Nico, you're a fucking fraud. You're a fake ass bitch. Politicking puppet bitch ass nigga that everybody hates. Cooper Flag, I know he can bounce back from this. I feel like people should take this with a grain of salt, knowing what the Mavericks have to deal with off season wise. But Jesus Christ, if this is how to compensate over the team with bare minimum of at least a reasonable rotation, with knowing you're injury riddled, fat, overweight, undisciplined, defensively and offensively inept, bottom 30th offense in the NBA, are bullshitting around this season. This was warranted. I just hope I never get over to that low to do a underdog sponsor. Or I'm just shilling myself over the monetization of sports gambling. And it seems like they're promoting more of the has-been hotel episodes right now. Oh, what else is here? Kendrick Perkins. Hey, why do you need that while you can get a perk? I'm not fucking you, Kendrick. Kendrick Perkins thinks that John Morant should go to Miami. I don't know if he's a Heat culture guy. That's always going to be a conversation because there's actually a legitimate atmosphere in Miami where you have to be like disciplined. Like they actually actually build diamonds from the rough over in Miami. And I'm not saying that like John Morant can't be a work in progress, but John Morant always feels like he is a prima donna at times when he underperforms. Saw a photo of him out of the huddle whenever things are not going his way, and that would be a content of concern knowing they're really in contention over their draft capital. I don't know if you'll be finding a Wembanyama type talent, even though you have Zach Edey that's around the same size. I think. No, I think he's only like an inch taller, an inch shorter. With the traditional big man game, if this was 2007, if this was 2002, Zach Edey would be better than Shaquille O'Neal. But knowing that it's the big 2025 and you need to shoot behind the arc, you're not going to be a college MVP that's a super senior, ain't going to do much against a 7'4" slashing demigod build from like 2K16. Shout out to all the OGs out there. You guys suck in 2K26. I apologize for saying that. But if y'all want to deal with it, see any more. Organization whispers behind the coaches back and don't have their backs or team. Yeah, I think John Morant really just messes with their coach relationship and it runs its course. He thinks it's time for John Morant and the Memphis organization to part ways. And I think the only option is John Morant. Only one direction needs to go, and he needs Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley. Miami Heat are in a comfortable spot right now in the NBA. In the Eastern Conference specifically, they're killing it. Like legitimately, they're looking good. Miami Heat are 5th place, only 5-3 to start off the season, with Davion Mitchell starting because Tyler Hero's still out due to injury. And they've been looking good. They've won 3 out of their last 5, only 2 straight losses against Orlando over 125 to 121, and then losing 141 against the Grizzlies, looking legitimate after a loss against the Lakers. And I'm probably going to close off here. I feel like the smartest decision for John Morant to do, and people might not like this, so buckle up. Probably stay in Memphis or go to Brooklyn. Or just go to a team that's desperate enough to trade over for an all-NBA guard while pushing over for some draft capital. That would be Toronto, if not necessary, or San Antonio, but they still have De'Aaron Fox that's still getting over from IR. Milwaukee was also pushed over as a conversation piece as well. Yeah. Apologies, Spongy. I'm going to close off here because I got to prepare for work. But I thank you for coming into the stream. And thank everybody else that took the time to at least listen, glimpse over, and maybe I'll clip this for later. Thank you for watching.